10 years ago at a conference in Orlando, after winning Best of Show for a database marketing technique, Mr. CRM database nerd, that would be me, and my database nerd friends were sitting there wondering what the future would be like, the future for us. Like, wouldn't it be really cool if we could have this personalized one-to-one conversation with customers whenever they needed one? Or what would it be like to be there before the customer got there, wherever there was, and some kind of nerdy nirvana? Thousands of people are embarking on a journey, a purchase journey, and 80% of them are doing it with a search. They're starting with a search, and most of them are doing it on a mobile device. We all do this, right? Millions and millions of people every day are researching, self-educating on their own terms, on their own time. And you can be sure that if any of that research has to do with IT solutions, then Dell wants to be there, a voice in that conversation. All of us spend a lot of time on our marketing material and our marketing plans, and we'd all like to think that everything that we do will bring everybody down to the shop, ready to buy. Sign me up, let me talk to a salesperson. Well, in reality, most people, while interested, are not quite ready to buy. And that's why we created the always-on, global, award-winning program that we like to call Nurture.
The customer journey is changing. Companies no longer control this journey, customers do. Not only do they want to, they expect to. They use digital channels like social media, search engines, and online to conduct their own research. They go at their own pace, they search using their own terms. And along their journey, they are confronted by a lot of content from companies competing for their attention. Companies must distinguish themselves by delivering timely and relevant information to their target customers at every turn. At Dell, we do this with an always-on, personalized, customer-centric marketing approach. Customers decide how to engage with us, and we respond accordingly. In personalized marketing, we shift from pushing information out to customers to an approach that responds specifically to their activities and interests. This is the foundation of our next-gen marketing program called Nurture. Through Nurture, we've put new capabilities and processes in place that power our ability to grow and deliver relevant marketing to our customers on a global scale. And with this approach, we're seeing great results. Since launching, hundreds of thousands of customers have experienced the program. We have over 10,000 interchangeable modular pieces. From 32 static wireframes or templates, we can deliver over 12,000 potential email versions tailored to our customers' interests and behaviors, resulting in a 350% improvement through personalized messaging. And customers can interact with more than 1,100 downloadable pieces of content, available in multiple languages to support all of our global regions. And all of this is unfolding in real time. Here's an example. Let's say customer A gets an email from Dell featuring a variety of topics. She happens to be interested in security, so she clicks on that topic. That triggers a response from us, delivering a follow-up email containing an infographic about security. As she continues to interact with the information we send her, we learn more about her interests and where she is in her buying process. We nurture prospects like her through their whole journey, all the way to purchase, no matter how many twists and turns it takes to get them there. This has been truly transformational for us, but we're far from done. Looking ahead, we plan to move beyond email to multi-vehicle deployment. We're exploring ways to target both prospective customers we know are interested in Dell, as well as those who aren't known to us yet. We will continue to expand our global reach through events integration and display marketing, taking our interactions with customers outside of their devices and into their day-to-day lives. Just like our customers are on a journey to explore, discover, learn, and buy, we're on a journey to transform marketing by building agile capabilities addressing our customers' needs. We're on our way, And wherever this new approach takes us, we will continue to put the customer at the center of everything we do.
So how do you start building a program like Nurture? Where do you begin? Well, obviously, you begin with the customer. And you begin very simple. One of my teammates has this piece of paper up in her cube at the office. This is the original handwritten design for the Nurture program. She did it on her coffee table at home one evening and came in and said, here it is. Very simple premise, right? If a customer does something, then we respond in kind. So we set off to build this pilot. We spent 4 to 6 weeks putting the emails together, a couple of very simple emails, nothing complex, nothing automated, and we put it in market. And amazing happened. It worked fantastically, and you know what happens when you do amazing, right? They want you to do more. So we went off, we spent another 4 to 6 weeks, and that amazing thing kept happening. So you can imagine the domino effect staring us in the face going, how can we possibly sustain expanding and evolving this program with such a small staff? So it came to us that we really needed to use modular content and automation. So we went off and did that, right? And those emails that took 4 to 6 weeks to put together in Nurture today take less than 4 hours. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. First, I wanted to give you an example. My daughter works for a company that supports the Hollywood movie studios. And this company's growing, and they're looking to expand their IT solution. And a couple of people in the office. First of all, there's Walter. Walter is the IT decision maker. Walter is concerned with things like how to scale IT, reliability, networking, storage, and of course, security. On the other hand, Allie is the chief art director. And she's interested in the latest and greatest tools to enable her and her creatives to reach the full extent of their imagination, right? And it's got to be cool as well. So how do they do their research? A little bit differently. Walter goes to syndicated third-party sites and is looking at IT solutions and information there. Allie, on the other hand, has been looking at videos about how to do the latest, greatest CGI. And she's clicking through online advertising. Both of those activities bring them into the Nurture program. As we saw in the video, the hundreds of thousands of contacts all come from places where we can capture their behavior. So just like Allie and just like Walter, they're looking at syndicated material, they're clicking through online advertising, they may be at Dell.com, they may be attending one of the hundreds of solutions events that we have, or they simply may be someone calling into the queue. Capturing when and where this behavioral activity occurs and what topics they're looking at is really at the core of how the Nurture experience unfolds. It's how that personalized conversation begins. So back at the office, Walter's sitting at his desk, and in comes an email on Dell security. Allie's looking through her iPhone, checking her email, and there's an email on the latest, greatest 4K and 5K monitors from Dell. What do you think the chances are they'll open this email? Across the globe, we're seeing click-through rates 10 times to 33 times greater than typical targeted push emails. Imagine the delight when they look in their inbox and they see this information that's totally personal and relevant to the interests that they are focused on. Any time in this experience A contact will engage in that material, in the content. And that engagement, what they choose, what they click on, determines what the next step will be. Nurture, the machine, is sitting back and watching their behavior. And based on what they click in, they'll send out even deeper layers of content. This is how we sustain the conversation. At any time, contexts may realize, I am informed. I have been educated. I understand what the solutions to our needs are, and so they're ready to buy them. They'll go ahead and call a salesperson. But on the other hand, there are a lot of people that pause. There are a lot of people that maybe need more time. There are people that lose interest. In nurture, non-behavior and non-engagement is just as important as engagement. Nurture sits back and it waits, and after a while, it will prompt the contact with additional information. Maybe that information is a continuation of the last thing they engaged with, or, depending on the circumstance, maybe that information is slightly different than the previous. Maybe a course correction is in order. We're seeing some pretty amazing results. In one region, our open rates are as high as 70%. 10% of the opportunity contribution globally is coming from the Nurture program. And for people that have gone through the program, the average order values are 35% higher than people who have not gone through the program. Nurture is sending out, on average, 6 emails a minute. Now, the caveat is we don't determine when those emails go out, and we don't determine what the content is. The customer is in control because the machine is always on. So content, the thousands of pieces that really enable these wide variety of conversations, content is key. We have a philosophy about content. First of all, content has to be great. Not just any old great. It has to be C2C killer content, right? They say that you have about 3 to 4 seconds before someone either opens your email or swipes it away into oblivion. So your content has to be able to pique their interest, draw them in, and sustain that conversation. The second thing is content has to be responsive. All of us have gotten those emails on our cell phone, and we're trying to figure out which way to look at it and zoom in and zoom out. It's incredibly frustrating. All the content in Nurture is responsive, it's consumable on any device, and it's translated in 7 languages across the world. And finally, content needs to scale. It needs to scale. It needs to be able to do personalization at scale. And in order to do this, I think if you'll recall, there were over 12,000 potential email scenarios that could be built. In order to do that, we really need modular content. We need modularity. Modularity is really simple if you think about it, or if you play with it. What we found is with a handful of interchangeable pieces, it's very easy to create messages. And it's very easy to change those messages around, kind of like Lego blocks. There we go. I conduct a workshop for our marketers, and what we decided to do to teach them about the advantages, the scale, the flexibility, the efficiency that modularity brings is kind of take them out of their daily roles. We picked a company, a large global manufacturing company, equipment manufacturing company, that's really well known for doing modular content. And we mocked up about 100 pieces of content. We put it in a kit, and at the tables in this workshop, each table had a kit. And we told them to go ahead and unpack it and organize your content. So everybody's spreading everything out on the table. We went through the taxonomy of what those pieces are. You know, this is a headline. This is a thumbnail. Let's make sure we're all talking the same language here. And then the fun part. The instructions are very simple. Go ahead and build a message. Build several messages. And so it was really interesting to look over people's shoulder. Invariably, you have somebody who holds up one piece and goes, will this work? And I'm like, I don't know, will it? People are putting together images and copy and call to actions. People are swapping out pieces from each other, building different messages. And then there's the person who, you know, has to build the Holy Grail and thinks, I have to use all 100 pieces in my, you know, whatever. What's interesting in this workshop is there's always the oh my God moment. And the last time I did this workshop, the director of the creative team that we had in there, about 25 minutes in, interrupts me. And she's like, Paul, what? Paul, I need to talk to my team right now. And I'm like, we're about to break. And she's like, no, right now. So wait for it. She looks at her team and she says, oh my God, why can't we do this? Why can't we use this modular methodology to blah, 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 blah? And that's where my facilitator's guide, you know, is tossed out the window. And for the next hour, there's this amazing kind of epiphanous enlightenment and this interactive dialogue that goes on about how modularity can be used. So for you, for anyone, getting started can really be quite simple. I mean, think about the print advertising, the emails, or in this case, the B2B, C2C website. Look at your content. Try to imagine decomposing it from a modular perspective, pulling out the headlines, the body copy, the images, the calls to actions. You know, imagine setting those out on the table. You don't have to start by recreating the entire world. You start by looking at what you have. One of the things that all of us has are these long-form assets that we've built. The white papers, the case studies, the thing that you used 3 months ago, and now it's sitting on a shelf. Take those things off the shelf, repackage them. Repackage them and break them down into snackable chunks. I don't know who coined the phrase snackable chunks, but it's really awesome. Think of the, you know, these kind of bite-sized pieces of information that people, it will pique their interest and it will bring them in. This is an example of 2 repackaging things that we did. On the left was your classic technical white paper, 32 pages long. We have tons of those sitting on the shelf, right? Most of us wouldn't get through the table of contents on a document like that. The other one on the right came from a case study. And in both instances, you can see how we created snackable chunks in the form of short articles, infographics, interactive PDFs, and videos, to name a few. In fact, those 4 are the most widely consumed snackable chunks in the Nurture program. We all have these things, and we all can do this. Then think about how do you construct these modular messages using simple pieces in whatever layout, a wireframe. You can put a message together, and just by interchanging pieces, you can create a new message. I like to call this the build once, use many, build many, use 1,000 times. And of course, there's storytelling. All of us, content marketers, content strategists, it's really important that we understand the concept and that we become good at telling stories, being able to tell that beginning to end story. But in Nurture, storytelling is a little bit different. It's less about telling that singular story, and it's more about enabling the potential for multiple stories to occur. In this starting point here, you see essentially 3 paths that the customer can take. And depending on what they choose, they eventually will build their own story. Content woven together is how you tell the complete story. Content woven together is how you tell the story that the customer is interested in hearing. So as you can imagine, if there are thousands of stories to be told today, there's probably 10,000 stories that need to be told tomorrow, or maybe, I don't know, 10 years from now when I'm giving a conference speech like this. So you constantly have to feed that pipeline. At any point in time, we have as many as 50 assets in the pipeline that are in some form or phase of production. So really, if you think about it, we're just getting started with this. I hope this has given you some insight in how you might be able to accommodate that always-on need by your customers for information. You know, before you get started in something like this, you've got to be ready to roll with the punches. This is not easy, and there are a lot of things that are going to break and a lot of things that you're going to have to fix. The other thing you have to be comfortable with is just the infinitesimal amount of tactical details. To do something like this is not going to be easy for you or for your coworkers, but hang in there. I'm living proof before you to say that you really can teach an old dog new tricks. You know, I was the CRM database nerd back there having this great vision, and now my role is enabling the organization. There we go. I spent a lot of time working with our regions and helping them understand and collaborate on ways that this kind of solution can impact things like your contact strategy or like an omni-vehicle solution. But really, at the end of the day, it's about finding ways to use automation to make our lives easier. My life, your life, and certainly the lives of our customers. So I'll leave you with one thought today from Peter Drucker, and that is the best way to predict the future is to create it. Thank you very much. Now, I will say that instead of entertaining questions, I don't hear so well. And the hearing aid doesn't work very well in big audiences, so please come down, talk to me. I'll sit down and answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much.